In tonight's headlines, Chief Executive John Lee pushes for harsher penalties for those who fail to comply with fire safety regulations. President Xi Jinping reaffirms ties with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Beijing, calling for a long-term partnership beneficial to both countries. And mainland GDP figures do not disappoint but fall short of expectations, leading to a stock market rout.
Speaking ahead of the weekly Executive Council meeting, Chief Executive John Lee said the government will tighten up measures to address fire safety breaches by imposing higher penalties, as well as granting authorities the power to take over maintenance work if owners fail to rectify problems. This came after a week of intense debate on fire safety regulations following the deadly blaze at New Lucky House in Jordan. The mixed-use tower was found to have disregarded 2 orders to repair or upgrade its fire equipment, with one dating back to 2008. Lee said that a bill will be drafted by the Security Bureau in the coming months and will be submitted to the LegCo later this year.
There will be legislative proposal to be made to LegCo for government to be empowered to actually carry out the necessary work to improve fire safety and fire installation if the responsible person delay for a long time, or when the hazard is of a type that we think we need to move in.
While the government will promptly intervene in improvement works, the respective building owners will be held financially accountable for any repair costs. The government will also increase the penalty as a deterrent for non-compliance to discourage future delays and negligence. The chief executive stressed that building safety and maintenance are the responsibilities of the owners, but the government will extend subsidies to those in need.
But I do notice in some cases it is because of sudden increase of costs, of charges that are required in some of the bidders for the construction work. If there are incidents where you think you need help, please go to the responsible government.
He called for the public to report to the authorities any instances of illegal activities or ulterior motives for profit. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
The city's leader emphasized on the need for more family offices to come to Hong Kong as long as the funds they invested were legitimate. His comments came after the authorities were suspected of not conducting background checks on those wishing to set up offices in Hong Kong. The idea of such overseas investment came under scrutiny after a prince from Dubai postponed the launch of his family office in Hong Kong. Sheikh Ali Rashid Ali Sayed Al Maktoum was later found to be a singer-songwriter and was identified as a member of a distant branch of Dubai's royal family. The website of his office was taken down temporarily, while the LinkedIn page remains inaccessible.
I think family offices are an area that all cities, all economies strive to attract them to come, because they are all supervalued assets owners, and they create very strong positive economic and financial benefits to the city, to Hong Kong, for example. So we will do our best to invite as many to come, and provided the money are legitimate money. We welcome whether he is a man in the streets, or he comes from a wealthy family, or he is a sovereignty fund. I think that is the attitude we should take. In all things we pursue, we have to balance the benefit with the risks.
A flat on the higher floor of Kam Wah Mansion in Yau Ma Tei burst into flames this afternoon. Firefighters responded to the incident, which occurred around 3:30 p.m. Flames could be seen coming out from the windows of the flat, and an air conditioner, which was burned to its core, fell to the ground. More than 100 residents evacuated from the building on their own, and 3 people escaped to the roof before being rescued by firefighters. 2 were sent to hospital for treatment, including a policeman who suffered cuts from shattered glass. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Students taking the Diploma of Secondary Education, or DSE exam, appeared for the revamped Liberal Studies exam today, which is now renamed to Citizenship and Social Development. Unlike other core subjects, Citizenship and Social Development is not graded but only marked as attained or unattained. And that could be the reason why some students did not study for today's test. The fundamental objective of implementing the subjects in the school curriculum is for students to enhance their understanding of society, the nation, and the world. It also focuses on deepening the sense of their Chinese identity. Most of the questions in the exam paper are centered around China and its development. Students are asked how a visit to the mainland has changed their perception and how can the exchange program be further enhanced to promote the national identity. And why is education the key to increase China's integrated success? The questions are somewhat suggestive and there's no space for critical thinking, said the student.
其實佢都 set 定晒，即係佢有一題就問負面影響同正面影響啦。咁你一定要寫一個好一個唔好啦。咁但係亦都有啲係直接俾咗一句説話你，叫你解釋嗰句嘢咯，係即係都係偏向啲好處方面咯，係冇。
They are all leading questions, said another. They provide you with a statement and ask you to explain its advantages.
都係啲好正路嘅正面嘅方面去答咯。
So the response is always positive. He also said the exam was relatively straightforward.
即係同學係正確理解條題目咧，應該就唔會出現頭先所講嗰個立場嘅問題嘅。
Lit Ho Jern, a teacher of the subject, says any student would pass with flying colors if they interpret the questions correctly.
我哋都估計咧會可能會好過通識科嗰個嘅達標率嘅。
Students are not expected to take a stance on each question, he said. It is definitely easier than its predecessor. Janice Yu, Cable News.
President Xi Jinping met with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Beijing today, amid mounting trade tensions between China and the European Union over the bloc's complaints of unfair competition. The two leaders discussed bilateral relations, with Xi emphasizing that mutually beneficial cooperation is not a risk, and both countries should think of long-term advantages of good Sino-German ties. Marking the 10th anniversary of the China-Germany strategic partnership, Xi said there are no fundamental conflicts of interest or security threats between the two countries. Both sides should uphold mutual respect, seek common ground while reserving differences, and pursue win-win results. Scholz said that Germany is willing to enhance communication and coordination with China to tackle global challenges, including climate change, and promote world peace and development. The two leaders also exchanged views on conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. The 3-day state visit marks Scholz's second since taking office.
China's economy was off to a great start this year, but its performance was a mixed bag. Despite the growth rate beating analysts' forecasts, challenges facing the property sector and sluggish demand overshadowed the upbeat performance. The gross domestic product saw a 5.3% expansion from a year ago to exceed market expectations. The growth was 0.1% higher than the increment of the previous quarter ending in December. Industrial output surged 6.1% for the first quarter compared to the same time last year, but it was 0.9% lower than that in the first 2 months of 2024. While the retail sales expanded by 4.7% in the first 3 months, the growth of 3.1% last month was weaker than market estimates. Fixed asset investment increased by 4.5% in the first 3 months, slightly higher than the pace of 4.2% between January and February. The sluggish real estate market hampered economic progress. It shed 9.5% in the first quarter, 0.5% more than the reduction in the first 2 months. Sale of units in commercial buildings was down 27.6%. The urban unemployment rate stood at 5.2%, a drop of 0.3% from a year ago.
正是因为经济在持续恢复。
Sheng Laiyun, Deputy Director of the National Bureau of Statistics, pointed out that external environment remains challenging. He emphasized that authorities would continue to strengthen market confidence in a bid to consolidate the positive economic sentiment. Janice Low, Cable News. The sluggish growth in retail sales and industrial output on the mainland saw Hong Kong stocks tumble to a 5-week low today, marking a 4th straight session of losses. The benchmark Hang Seng Index lost 2.1%, while the Shanghai Composite Index tumbled 1.7%. Share value of all but 3 of the 82 firms which comprise the Hang Seng Index declined.
Investors in Hong Kong are more worried about weak economic growth in China, especially the weak growth in the retail sales. So I think the Hong Kong market is still on the declining trail. I think the market will fall further.
The overall effect saw losses across the board, with precision lens maker Sunny Optical tanking 6.4%. The not-so-good retail outlook dragged casino stocks, with Sands China down 6%, while Galaxy Entertainment dropped 4.9%.